Okay. All right, so yesterday we graphed on the polar, and that was with, we found it was with concentric circles. We've done everything on the rectangular coordinate, where this was the x, and this is the y, and this is my theta, right? So everything we've done on here. And we found that we could find r, because we took x squared plus y squared, and that was the square root using the Pythagorean theorem. And we found that we could find r by taking the sine and the cosine, right? And we multiplied, and we found those. So if I'm going to convert to polar, so I want r and theta. I want r and theta. Well, I'm given r and theta. I want to end up with x and y. So if I start with r and theta, but I want to end up graphing in the rectangular, we already did this. We already did this. Because it's hard to take r and the cosine of theta and r and the sine of theta? No. Okay, so let's go to example 1. I've got r and theta, and I want to end up with x and y. I have r and theta, and I want to end up with x and y. So, I don't think you're not going to need one. All right. So, to do that, to get my x, I'm going to take r cosine of So we have x equals 3 cosine of pi over 2, and y equals 3 sine of pi over 2. So what is the cosine of pi over 2, first of all? The cosine of... So is my x 1 or 0? X. My x is 0. So 3 times 0 is going to give me... And so my sine now is 1. So this is 3. So my x and y are 0, 3. Okay, so what I want to do first, 3 and pi over 2. So when I graph that, we graph the pi over 2, right? We do the theta first, and then we go out 3 circles. So pi over 2, 1, 2, 3. So for right now, we are going to. So this is what the 3 and pi over 2 was. And then we came up with 0 and 3. And so where does that graph on the rectangular? Right here. And so what do you notice about the two of them? They're the same. Okay, I'm going to come back and do B, but so leave room because my last class filled this in. Don't fill this in, but we're going to do this one next. So this is my r, and this is my theta, and I want x and y. So I'm going to do the exact same thing as what I just did. I'm going to do x equals 4 cosine of 0 So on the graph, I'm right here. So what is the x here? 1. So this one is 4, and this one is 0. So I end up with 4, 0. So let's graph. So this is 4 and 0 degrees. And this one.
How come the first one equals 4?
What's the cosine of 0? And then times 4. Okay, so they end up graphing again in the same spot, correct? All right, so let's do the next one. Same process. So, first of all, let's just look. 3 pi over 4 is here, correct? So I know my reference angle is pi over 4. You're right. And so the sine and cosine are both the square root of 2 over 2 at pi over 4. But 3 pi over 4 is over here. So is my x positive or negative? So the cosine is going to be negative square root of 2 over 2. And the sine, the y is positive, so it's going to be a positive square root of 2 over 2, right? So we're going to multiply like this. So first of all, it's a negative times a negative, positive. And so 4 divided by 2 is 2. So here I get 2 square roots of 2. And then here, except this one's positive, so this ends up being a negative square root of 2 over 2. So my answer is 2 square roots of 2 and negative square roots of 2. And if we graph these also are the same. Okay? So the rectangular and the polar are going to work the same. All right? So if you're given the polar and you're going to rectangular, the only thing you have to do is this. That's it. Nothing else. Okay? What? No. So if you're given polar and you go to rectangular, this is it. We're going to use the tangent if we go the other way. Okay? So, to convert, so if I start with rectangular, if I start with x, y, and I need r theta, okay? So, to find r, so we're going to be given x and y. You're going to be given x and y. I have x and y here, and I have x and y here. So I can find r, and I can find theta. Okay? So if I'm given x and y, this is what I'm going to do to find this. So we did have one thing. What happened if the x was negative? What do you have to do? You have to add 180, or if it's in radians, we're going to add pi. So if it's negative x, right? If it's a negative x. Okay, so in this one you won't have to, okay? Yes, or a pi. Okay, so you guys might want to write this down also. This didn't turn out very neat in my last class, so. Here, I'll try to put some cute little lines. Maybe that'll help you.
I can't write that small.
Yeah, it's a problem.
What's the last one?
Pi over 2. Okay, so these are your tangent values, so you're going to want these.
Do I have to memorize it?
I mean, if you want to do them on the test, you probably will.
Are we done for the day?
No, we're not done for the day. Are you done? Yes, homeroom today. Progress reports. Homeroom. Progress reports. Okay.
Throw it away.
Okay. So this time I have x and y. And I want r and theta. This time I have x and y and I want r and theta. So to find the r, so negative 3 squared is plus 9. So is that a perfect square?
Yeah.
It's not. I simplified the square root of 18.
The square root of negative 3 plus b.
This is 3.
That's a 3.
Yeah. Look, you know what it is. It's right here. That's your y. Oh my gosh.
Why is your parentheses right there? Where's the open parentheses for that?
Right there. There's 2 of them.
Oh, that's why. Is that an 8?
Oh my gosh. You are criticizing my... I'm going to start taking points off on your homework. So, once I find the r, now how do I find the theta? The inverse tangent, right? So y over x 180 or pi, one or the other, right? So 3 divided by negative 3 is negative 1. All I need is 1. Where is the tangent 1? Okay, I'm going to in just a second. Where is the tangent? Pi over 4, right? And then my x is negative, so what do I have to add? Or pi. So my theta is pi over 4 plus, I want to add pi. Oh, not theta. So, okay, so if this is pi, how do I add that? I make it 4 pi over 4, and when I add them together, I have 5 pi over 4. So my r was 3 squared roots of 2, and my theta is 5 pi over 4. And that's the answer. It's really not a lot of work. I'm just talking slow on this one, right? Okay.
I feel like every time we learn something, it's super easy, and then it kind of gets like, the homework is hard.
Yeah, but this doesn't get any harder. Like it's the same every single time. You either do r cosine theta, r sine theta, or you do r squared, you do this. All right. Okay, let's do the scary fractions. Okay, so first of all, how do I find the r? You do. Over there. So, Trey, what's 1/3 squared? It's not. What's 1/3 times 1/3?
1/9. I'm already on the
The square root of 3 over 3 times the square root of 3 over 3. 3/9. Okay. Okay, so look at, if I simplify it, can I add them together? No. So if I do 1/3 plus, if I do 1/9 plus 3/9, what do I get? And what's the square root of 4/9? 2/3. So that's the r. How do I find the theta? The tangent.
Wait a minute, how'd you get 3/9? Because when you do square root of 3 over 3, square root of 3 times square root of 3 equals 3. So 3 times 3 is 3/9.
So I have the inverse tangent of the y over the x. So what's going to cancel out here? The 3's, and it leaves me with the square root of 3. So look under your little handy-dandy notebook. Pi/3. So my theta is pi/3. I can see why you guys think this is hard. Square root of 3. Okay, last one. Sit. Oh, get a tissue and then sit down. All right. What do I do? Yeah. So, I know, I'm like, I'm not done. But you can go out and blow your nose. That's okay. Okay, so what do I start with? Find the r. So x squared plus y squared, square root is going to be...
Can I stop that?
No, you cannot stop. So x squared is 0 squared plus 3 squared. And if I take the square root, it's... So my r is 3. So the inverse tangent is going to be, I get -3/0, which is undefined. So let's think about it, okay? Really quick, just for a minute. I don't want to hurt your brains too much. But you're right. The undefined is at pi/2, correct? But I have 0, -3. So if it's undefined up here, what is it down here? Undefined. And if I plotted 0, -3, where would that be? It would be down here, wouldn't it? It wouldn't be up here. It would be down here. Okay? So my theta this time is 3 pi/2. Okay. So we get undefined in two places. We get undefined, listen, you get undefined at pi/2, but it's also undefined at 3 pi over 2. So if this was 0, negative 3, then it's at 3 pi over 2. If it was 0, 3, it would be pi over 2. Okay?